We had a great Halloween, Samhain, wonderful time, right? But after that, we got some bad news. Our oldest kitty, Grim, is very sick.
Yeah.
He has liver cancer. So, of course, he's sitting here desperately awaiting the salmon.
Yeah, well, the salmon is probably one of his favorite people foods.
So we thought we've been feeding him this awesome low-protein diet for years and trying to help his kidneys, and there really is no point at this point.
There's no reason to keep him on the low protein because his kidneys are going to outlast his liver at this point.
So
there you have it.
So grilled salmon, Grimmy style, for Grim. For protecting me.
This is hot. Don't touch it.
At least see this freezing. I want to eat some.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Do you want some salmon? Do you want some salmon? Oh yeah, he does. So, James, you are going to make the marinade for the salmon? Yes?
Yes, I am.
So go for it.
All right.
Tell us how to do it.
Into the marinade. The marinade is essentially the same one that we used for the tuna with a little bit of minor variation.
Belle says she would like hers raw.
Yeah,
raw, please. The juice of 1 lemon strained through a tea strainer. Gotcha. What next?
Well, it keeps the seeds out.
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit of a formality. We're going to use, looks like about half a cup of maple syrup. We use the grade B dark for marinades. It gives it a nice, rich flavor. To that, we will also add about a half a cup of Bragg's liquid aminos.
About?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is not rocket science, and if it were rocket science, this would not make a very good fuel. This is not flammable.
Okay.
The rocket would not go anywhere.
What else?
We also, to it, need to add about a tablespoon of prepared horseradish.
All right.
And 1 clove of garlic, lightly mashed.
How are you going to mash it?
With a garlic press.
Oh, okay.
Quick and dirty.
Mind you, anyone who has wrists like mine,
Look at how small they are.
do not try to mash your garlic with a garlic press. It is too difficult. I have to say that you're doing an excellent job of stirring, and why don't we have something to beat things with? I don't know.
That is one of the mysteries of our culinary relationship. We stir things up all the time. We beat them, we whisk them,
with a fork,
but never with a whisk.
I don't know
We don't have
why.
a whisk.
Yeah, it's very weird.
I thought I remember owning a whisk at some point in the distant past, but I don't have a whisk now. I don't know what happened to it.
I probably told you didn't need to bring it with us when we moved, but
That's a possibility.
we used to live in Minnesota, and before that, Chicago.
And you know they don't whisk things in Chicago.
It is not allowed. No.
That's where Grim's from, though. He's from Chicago, from the mean streets of Chicago.
Grimmy, you were born in the mean streets of Chicago, weren't you?
Yes, he certainly was.
And, Grim, when did you become friends with James? Well, James, maybe you should answer, because Grim is only excited about... He can smell the salmon, even wrapped up.
I'm sure he can. Let's see, Grim came into my life roughly January of 1993.
Oh, okay. What are you doing with the salmon?
I'm cutting off a piece for the cats.
Don't get a piece with bones, okay.
I've already deboned the salmon, so.
Cool. Oh my goodness. 3 out of 4 cats can't be wrong. Salmon is delicious. So if you were preparing one of the last meals for your cats, we're trying to have a good sense of humor about this.
We're trying to have a good sense of humor about this. One quick culinary note for the human eaters. Get the fillet, leave the skin on because we're going to be grilling it, and
which is ridiculous this time of year.
Which is fantastic this time of year. It's brilliant. And just put it face down in the marinade and let it sit for as long as you can.
Well, not.
Well,
we're not making lutefisk here.
Yeah, no, don't let it sit for a week or anything.
What do you think, Grim? Lutefisk?
20 minutes is usually sufficient.
Grim says he spent a quarter of his life in Minnesota. He wants lutefisk.
Okay, well, let's just have a little sake sashimi for the cats here.
Mmm.
Okay. Well, here's your decoy piece over here. Okay.
Aw, he likes it, James. That's sweet. I guess he's a sushi kitty after all.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Bay Area thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we weren't gonna make any videos for a while, but our fabulous vet suggested that we just feed Grim whatever he wanted and made him happy. So we're giving him Grim comfort food. Alright, how long should we let that marinate?
We should let it marinate for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to pop it on the grill.
Cool.
In the meanwhile, this would be a good time to get your grill ready if you haven't already started it. I already started it, so ours is going to be ready just in time.
But you're not using propane.
Or propane accessories. No, not in the slightest. I use a mesquite charcoal.
Camping grill.
On a camping grill.
That's rusty.
It is rusty, yes. And it's a grill that we've actually owned almost as long as I've had Grim, so it's pretty appropriate.
This might be a good time to mention, whatever you've heard about us, we're not really foodies. We love food, but we have rusty grills. And no whisks whatsoever.
No whisk, not a single whisk in the entire house.
Right. But we love our cats.
Mm-hmm. I think the phrase slavishly devoted comes to mind when referencing our relationship with our cats.
Yeah. Real people, right, Val? Right, May? Hiding under the table? Did you prefer salmon?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. It's okay, kiddies. We're just gonna go drink beer and smoke salmon for a while, okay? Alright! Awesome!
Here we are. We're outside. a foodie first.
Oh yes, since we're grilling outside for the camera, I wanted you all to see the craziness that is our yard, our rented yard. Just at least see this craziness. It's totally unusual for Silicon Valley. Really quick.
It's quite aberrant.
So there's this enormous cedar tree, which is awesome.
Yeah, that one of those limbs fell and crushed the.
Yeah.
One of the limbs fell and crushed the fence a couple of years ago. Here's by comparison. Rin's not that big.
Not that big.
Next to the cedar tree, there's an orange tree, which currently only has greens on it right now.
Yeah, it's not looking so good.
All the blossoms fell off, and the little oranges are green right now.
For those of you in the Midwest, this is an avocado growing on a bush that's really more like a tree. However, the squirrels take them all before they get to the
we're
proper size.
constantly doing battle with the squirrels over our fruit rights.
This is the apple tree that we get most of the apples from.
Uh-huh.
And,
I want to be a pie. I want to be a pie. Make me into a pie.
okay, this is my favorite part. This is awesome.
I thought you were going to talk about the cherry trees, but nope. Talking about...
The squirrels get all the cherries.
I know, the squirrels took all our
Except
cherries.
that first year. That was awesome. This is some kind of plum tree. We have
Crazy Italian
a
plums.
lot of different trees at this rental unit, and I think they're going to plow them all under.
Oh yeah.
Which is why we can't bury Grim here.
No.
He'll get dug up rather quickly.
Right.
So good.
And he's still alive, so.
Yeah. Where did this chair come from? I don't remember this.
And it came from the basement.
Oh. Okay. So this has been in our backyard the whole time.
Yeah. Let's see. Survey. Oh look. We've got tires and chairs, and there's a washing machine back in there, and a whole bunch of other good stuff.
It is wild. And this nice metal exterior.
Yeah, we've got the corrugated steel.
Really, it's pretty big considering. Can you get the roof? It's starting to rain. Run, get the salmon done. Our camping grill,
Camping grill.
which we got in 1994, is super hot.
Super hot. Okay.
Can probably hear traffic.
Traffic.
We live
Kids
in
on skateboards.
Yeah, the peninsula, San Francisco, very busy. Okay, so what's going on with this?
Well, I am going to put it, because we have the skin on, I'm going to put it just directly on the grill over the coals.
Ooh, kind of shrunk.
Just a little bit, just initially. And we're going to cover it. Let it smoke. And we're going to baste it with the leftover marinade every once in a while just to keep it nice and flavored and moist and yummy.
Excellent. What about Grim?
Well, Grim is, I don't know, he's one of a kind. He's super special.
I meant, would he be okay inside in the house?
Oh.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Grimmy. I can barely see you. It's getting dark out. He doesn't care.
So do you want Old Milwaukee or PBR? For those of you who don't know, PBR stands for Pabst Blue Ribbon, one of the finest American beers.
Okay, I don't normally drink either of those, but these were hand-me-downs from the Don and Drew LA party night, and honestly...
Because beer is always better when you let it sit for 6 months before you drink it.
Oh, it's not? I actually didn't know that. But yeah, how about an old Milwaukee? So we can recognize Milwaukee, where Don and Drew are from. Hello. And is it going to explode?
I hope not.
We'll see. That'll be fun. Nice. So we could probably share one of these if you want.
Too late.
So we're just charbroiling. Well, that's the name of the camping grill. We're grilling our salmon, and partly for Grim, partly for us. Just enjoying the outdoors as it gets dark. How long does the salmon have to grill, James?
The salmon, you want it to grill for, I don't know, roughly 20 minutes. It depends on how hot your grill is. It depends on how thick the salmon is. For our piece, based on how big it is and how hot our grill is, I'm going to say 20 minutes. One of the women I work with at a toy store, I worked at a toy store in Chicago, her kids found a cat and brought him home one day, and they didn't want to keep him, and she was going to take him to the pound. And so when I heard the story, I said, "Oh, don't do that. Don't take him to the pound. I'll adopt him." And she brought him by my house the next day, and he and I have been pals ever since.
When was that?
That was 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was January of 1993. Possibly December of 92. I'm not exactly sure, but you know, my memory of those days is pretty hazy, I guess.
So, you know,
when you're in your early 20s, it's don't write things like that on a calendar. Today got cat, you know.
Enjoy it. Don't watch this video.
Yeah, if you're in your early 20s and you're watching our video and you're not...
Go out. Enjoy yourself.
Unless you've made a drinking game out of it or something, in which case, please send us the rules.
Every time you mention a sad cat incident.
Gotta drink.
But we're not getting drunk. We're just enjoying cooking our salmon.
Right. And we're gonna pour a little libation out for all our cat homies who have gone before us.
What's that for?
It's for Marmalade, for Copper, for Kiwi, for Blixa. Grim had a buddy named Blixa for a while, who was my roommate's cat. Blixa crossed over to the other side a number of years ago, so I'm sure he's around to help Grim out through this difficult transition, I'm sure. You know, he'll be in good hands on the other side.
Or not all the way on the other side.
Or if he wants to hang out and haunt us, I guess that's okay too.
I actually think he'll haunt James. I'm pretty sure. Check back with us in a couple months, but I think he'll be haunting James.
Just baste it a little bit here with the marinade. Yum, yum, yum.
And I wanted to say, in our talking about Grim, that we have so many funny memories of him. He was hilarious. We had him, and we got all other 3 cats off the streets after him. And Grim came from the streets of Chicago, but the other 3 cats, May, then Thomas, and Belle together, all came from Minneapolis. Grim was James's cat before I met him. And when I met James, we actually started getting together when we were both petting Grim and ended up touching hands. It was very sweet. So, Grim knew Belle when she was still going in and out of heat, which is kind of unusual. And Belle would go into heat, and we'll post a picture. Grim would step on her back. I wish we'd had a video camera. He would try to start her, much like a motorcycle, and then eventually get lazy. He would be biting her scruff, and he would fall to the side. So Grim has a long history with us of being such a sweet and feisty, silly cat. And everyone who knows him, who has met him, loves him and has been impressed by him. And I think a lot of cats are that way, but Grim is special to me.
It's looking pretty good. It's been cooking for, I don't know, maybe half the amount of time so far. Just basting it.
So you're basting your salmon. What size salmon is this?
This is 3/4 of a pound.
Okay.
It's a tail cut, but it's a center tail cut, so it's not the exact tail. So it's a little thinner. It's going to cook a little faster.
Right.
And it's looking pretty good.
So you're basting it every 5 minutes?
Roughly.
And grilling it. How long do you expect it to take?
I expect it to take about another 5 minutes. It's looking pretty done.
So it's been cooking for 15 minutes?
For 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
And, you know, it's not really an exact science. When it's done, it's done.
And you don't turn it over?
No. What you want to do is you cook it so that basically the skin burns on the bottom, and then the salmon itself flakes away. Oop, zoinks. But look at that.
Give that to Grim.
Yeah, that's a piece for Grim.
And it has a wonderful taste. If you've marinated it for a long time, you don't have to baste it at all.
Right.
Or maybe just once.
But
if you haven't, then go ahead and baste it.
So it flakes away from the skin. You can see that.
It's a little bit dark, but...
Well, all right. Take my word for it. So we're almost done with this salmon here. So I think there's probably just enough time for another story.
Grim and Thomas would not get along, so James had the brilliant idea to cut a PVC pipe 3 or 4 feet across and keep them separated. by that means to try to get them to get along. It must have worked over the years.
Alright, so the two things that people notice most about Grim, physically anyway, when they first meet him is, the first thing is that he has thumbs. He mostly uses them to play video games and open doors, to get into trouble.
Oh, he totally opened our door in Minneapolis.
Yeah, he did.
No, not just the door.
No, not the door, the lock too.
Yeah. And the door.
And the door. He's a very clever cat. I used to think maybe he was raised by raccoons, but you know, I was never able to prove that. And then secondarily, he's missing half of his left ear. And the very, very quick answer to how did he lose half of his left ear is when I first adopted him, he still had that part. It was there, but it was all scar tissue. It was all scarred, and it looked like a scab actually from that point on. And when I brought him to the vet said, "Oh yeah, that tissue's all damaged, and I wouldn't be surprised if it just sloughed right off." And within 5 days of the vet saying that, that's exactly what happened. That tip fell off. They think it's frostbite. It doesn't look like he had any other. It wasn't like a fight injury or anything. And it was the middle of winter and the hard streets of Chicago, and so he got a little frostbite and his ear fell off.
Yeah.
So that's the Grim ear story. It looked like a little furry potato chip when it came off. It was kind of gross, actually.
What did you do with that?
Well, I didn't get to keep it because the last time I saw it, it was still hanging by a thread. You know, like when you get a loose tooth and it's just hanging there, but I didn't want to pull it off, and so I decided to let it fall off on its own, and it fell off somewhere, and I never found it. So
what? In what apartment?
In the coach house that I lived in 30 feet from the L tracks in Chicago.
That's insane. I'm glad I didn't know you then.
Yeah.
Because with my attention to detail, I would have found it.
I personally think one of the other cats ate it.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. I think probably Tonka did it. Tonka was pretty fat.
If Grim died in our house, would our other cats eat him?
If we abandoned them and he was their only food source, absolutely.
But otherwise not.
No.
They would want salmon or something fancy and foodie-like, right?
Sure. If they had a choice between a big plate of salmon and Grim, obviously they would choose salmon.
Well, it's devastating that Grim is sick and all that. We're trying to be very,
trying to keep it upbeat.
Puts the lotion on the skin.
It just flakes right off the skin.
Now, if this were professional, we'd do it during the day. Instead, you have one light source, and you see James just pulling it off the skin. But that's cool.
See, look at that.
Grim is worth it, no doubt. So, I want to thank everybody who's written to say that they've been through what we are going through now. I really appreciate it. And I don't know about you, James, but
I really do appreciate it.
I do. And everyone has written and said, I understand what you're going through. My cat was practically like my child or sibling, too. I was really close to them, and it was hard to lose them. And I appreciate that. There's probably too much dismissing of those relationships in the world.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Well, thank you to the salmon who's offering its, tasty goodness to us and to our ailing cat.
That was nice. That
was
very nice. Hey, I think Grim wants to eat some more.
Yeah, you think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What do you think, Grim? Yeah. He's ready to eat. Let's go. Come on, let's eat.
Grimmy, 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 Grimmy. We love you.
I think the phrase slavishly devoted comes to mind when referencing our relationship with our cats.